This time I'd like to call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Magistrate King.
Here.
Magistrate Barger.
Here.
Magistrate Hughes.
Here.
Magistrate Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. Hope you all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last. I think we've got minutes of 2 meetings in there. If there are no questions, no discussion, a motion would be in order to approve those as submitted in your packet on your iPad. So move.
Magistrate King.
Yes.
Magistrate Barger.
Yes.
Magistrate Hughes.
Yes.
Magistrate Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Treasurer report will be the 4th Tuesday this month. We'll go right into order of business, and want to welcome Judge John Wilson from Garrett County. And everybody here knows him. He's been an excellent judge in Garrett County, done a whole lot over there, and a really good friend of mine. And John, like a lot of other good people, like he doesn't have enough to do, has taken on really an endeavor of an interlocal agreement that all 17 counties, there's 16 county judges plus Fayette County, and we've had a few problems that everybody's aware of. You've read things that have happened at the ad, and you've read things that have happened with workforce development. But those things are coming around. David Duttlanger, the executive director now, is doing an excellent job. Everybody is really on board with this, and John's taken it on himself along with 15 other county judges to kind of get the Workforce Investment Board back in line the way it's supposed to be, the way it will help every county in the Bluegrass ad and not just benefit 2 or 3. And we had asked John, we're trying to do an interlocal agreement, and I asked John to come over because you all know him and you trust him, and you know when he tells you something, that's the way it is, to try to explain this to you a little bit, and so you understand it before we make any deal. And when you hear him, if you all want to vote on it today, we can, or if you all would like to wait a couple of weeks, we can do it in 2 weeks, but we'd like to go on and do this as soon as possible. John's working directly with Commissioner Brindley in Frankfort, so it's one of those things where we'd like to do it as soon as possible so we can get on with the show. So John, if you'd like to come up, and again, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come over and talk to us a little bit.
Well, thank you, Judge, and thank you, members of the Madison County Fiscal Court. It's a real honor to be here, and we thank a lot of you all in Garrett County and the partnership that we've had between our 2 counties. Like Judge Clark said, I'm here for this interlocal agreement. About 2 or 3 years ago, all the counties adopted an interlocal agreement that was about 2 pages long that basically sets up the way the Workforce Investment Act is administered in our region. So kind of to give you a brief overview, the entire country is divided into these workforce investment areas, and each one is administered by a workforce investment board. In Kentucky, most of those follow the ad districts, and here we're in the Bluegrass ad district. So the way it's designed to be set up is the local elected officials, which are defined in Kentucky as the judge executive in each county, supposed to oversee the Workforce Investment Board, and then they select, the local elected officials select a fiscal agent. In our case, it is the Bluegrass ad to administer this program. But we've had some problems here, and you all have read about those. Basically, it's primarily been a transparency problem. And here, the current interlocal agreement that we're operating under presently, it leaves the chief elected official, which is defined as the highest ranking official at the Bluegrass ad, to essentially make all the decisions unilaterally. That person picks the fiscal agent. That person has sole authority to appoint every board member on the Workforce Investment Board, those type of things. So that's a transparency problem. It's a problem of too much power in one person. And here, it's accumulated right now in the position of the mayor of Winchester, and he's working with me very carefully. He doesn't want this job anymore. He hadn't wanted it to begin with, but that's the way the act is set up. So what this does, this reforms the whole process, and all the judge executives got together. We established an interim working board. It's myself, Judge Clark, Judge Adams from Lincoln County, Judge McKinney from Boyle County, and Judge Pryor from Nicholas County. And the 5 of us worked with a law firm in Lexington to work through this, and then we've worked very closely with Commissioner Brindley and her general counsel, Randy Justice. And last Thursday, this culminated in a 5-hour meeting in Lexington where we went through. Commissioner Brindley has now signed off on the agreement, and now we're ready to have every county fiscal court adopt this, and now we're going through that process now. So today, Last night Garrett County did, Friday it was Nicholas County, today it's Lincoln, Madison, Powell, and I think Harrison was going to have it. They're going to do it towards the end of the month. But I can answer any questions. I can go through this whole thing with you all. It's 9 pages long, answer any questions you might have. But that's kind of where we are. So
It's one of those situations where, and I'll admit, it's kind of got away from the way it was set up. It was supposed to benefit all the counties, and it just hasn't been right. And it's nothing to Mayor Bertner. He just came on board with this thing.
Sure.
I mean, he just jumped in the fire, and he's trying to help work us through it. But it's an excellent program. It benefits especially the small counties, and we just like to get this thing straight, get a new interlocal agreement, and move on with what the purpose of the whole program is about.
I don't think we got a copy of it though, do we? I mean, I'd like.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind passing, but I'd like to have a copy.
Sure.
Of it.
I've given a copy to your county attorney. I can pass. This is my original Magistrate Hughes. I'll pass it to you. Basically, this is an $11 million program. Madison County has employees of this program right now with your one-stop center, your career center here. That's operating. That's a program of this Workforce Investment Board. And I'm not sure who your committee member is, Judge, on that. But this is not a Bluegrass Ad program. This is a program for our region. The Bluegrass Ad is simply the fiscal agent. The name Bluegrass Ad's nowhere actually in the agreement. Mayor Bertner has been really the man of the hour. He stepped up during all this trouble. But, you know, for instance, the local elected officials have to choose the fiscal agent, but the way the current agreement says, the person making that decision is the highest ranking official at the ad. So it's clearly a conflict that you have the highest ranking guy at the ad who decides if the ad keeps the job. This changes that. This sets it to a vote before the judges. And like I said, federal law requires the judge executives to be in control of this thing, and right now we have a mayor in control. And so Mayor Bertner is working with me. Mayor Bertner will be in Powell County tonight, and I'm here in Madison County. I'll be in Mercer County Friday and Scott County Friday. So we're working together to get this done. It's not a slam on Mayor Bertner at all.
It's the judge executives as a group.
It's all 17. So,
Right.
And Commissioner Barger, or Magistrate Barger, that's one of the problems we had when the auditor said the judges need to be more involved. Well, when we all got together, there's actually no official mechanism for all of us to meet. That's established in this agreement where the judges can get together and actually take a vote and say, here's who we select as the fiscal agent, and really have a very transparent process where those meetings are subject to open records laws. They're not now. Those are things that this corrects. So.
If you let Francette run a copy of that. for
Sure,
me, if you
yeah,
got it.
okay.
Any other questions? It's some really good housekeeping for the benefit of everybody in Bluegrass Area Development counties. Like John said, the Bluegrass Area Development isn't involved with this interlocal agreement. This is totally amongst the chief elected officials of the 17 counties.
This basically just establishes the framework, a transparent framework with, like I said, the open meetings. It's right now there's an impasse between the Workforce Investment Board and some of the local elected officials. There's no dispute resolution process. This has that in there. It's a very balanced approach with Commissioner Brenly as a mediator. So those are the type of things just to move forward. For instance, the employees of your Workforce Investment Center here, your one-stop, who do they really work for? Do they work for the ad, or do they work for the Workforce Investment Board? Those are issues that need to be resolved to have a clear chain of command, and that's all done in this document. So, and by the way, we're also under a corrective action plan where time is of the essence, and we do have to have all 17 counties pass this in August. So I neglected to say that too.
You know, I've been down to the job center, and I've sat in on a couple of meetings that talk about this Workforce Investment Act, so I've got a little bit more of interest in it than maybe some of the other guys do. But if we need to pass this thing, I'd be glad to make a motion that we pass this resolution.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Any more questions for John? If not, Kenny, take a vote.
Magistrate King?
Yes.
Magistrate Barger?
Yes.
Magistrate Hughes?
Yes.
Magistrate Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes.
Thank you.
John, thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'll leave a copy with
Thank you, John.
outside. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is Emily Burns is here to talk to us a little bit about the Battle of the Richmond Association and the upcoming reenactment.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'd also like to take a moment to thank you for all that you do. for the battlefield, for the park. We couldn't do what we do without your support. It's a busy season. The annual Celebrity Golf Scramble is Friday, August 15th. We have more teams signed up this year than we did last year, so we think that's a real positive thing. Reenactment weekend is upon us, August 23rd and 24th. And I would really like to encourage everyone to come out. We all think we know how the battle ended, and you can't change history. The battle is going to end the same every year. But the activities around the battle, they change every year. This year I'm really excited. We've got a Civil War hospital set up, so you can wander through the camps and talk to the surgeons, the doctors, the stewards. We have a camp laundress, a cook, all these different activities, people that have studied the Civil War medicine and who know what it's about. I believe the Sisters of Charity are coming back from Cincinnati. There were nuns from their order at our battlefield after the fighting, and they nursed the wounded soldiers. So that's a really exciting thing. We also have a children's activity garden set up so that children can come and play 19th century games. We'll have different activities, and Girl Scout troop 656 from Kingston has graciously volunteered to come and help with the children's activities. So there really is something for everyone. The battle is at 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, and we'd really like to encourage everyone to come out and participate.
Thanks, Emily. Any questions?
I just appreciate them for taking the time to do it and wearing the clothes that.
You want to, make people step up and take notice. Wear this and come into the courthouse on Tuesday morning. Everybody woke up real quick.
Good on you, Roger.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Emily, thanks for coming in, taking the time. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure you'll see all of us out there sometime or another this weekend.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Okay, next open bids, EMA CSEP calendar. Carl?
Yeah, Mark's got the bids. We received 2 bids for the calendar. The 2 that usually bid it have bid it again. We'll see who won this time. They usually are pretty close. He had Thoroughbred and is that Host? Is that the name on the envelope?
Properly sealed and delivered and received in the appropriate time frame, is that correct?
Correct.
Post and Thoroughbred.
Now, Carl, is this kind of an expedite deal? Do you need action, or can you come back the next meeting after you look at both bids?
No, we have time. We've got it in early enough, so we can bring it back to next court for approval. Usually the way we've laid these out now, it's pretty easy to evaluate them because we got, line for this, and this, and just look at them. And they've both done the calendar. They're both capable of doing the calendar. And they're both as local as we can get. They're both out of Lexington, so that's the best we can get. So we can wait. We'll be all right.
Good deal. While you're there, open bids on the Madison County EMA CSEP server.
Yeah, we got 3 bids there. They were all received, as Mark always asks, on time. They were all sealed. We don't know what to expect because one of these vendors we've never dealt with, but Chris has from the county IT department. He said they're top notch, so I'm excited to see what they bid since I've never dealt with them before. But
These were from CDW Company, Hensley, Elam, and then the third was from Virtual Graffiti.
Yep.
And again, they were all properly sealed.
Correct.
And accepted. We opened them first thing in open court.
Deal. And as always, you'll take these into consideration.
Yeah,
grade
that'll
them.
take a little more review probably based on what's in that one.
Okay. Thanks, Carl. Next, Scott, you've got solid waste personnel.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to make a recommendation to the court that we hire Patrick Garrett as full-time CDL driver, laborer for the solid waste department.
What would the salary on that be starting?
$11 an hour to start out and 3 months probation.
Second.
Pastor King,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Pastor Hughes.
Yes.
Pastor Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Thanks, Scott. Carl, you want to come up and talk to us a little bit more about this house elevation project?
Yeah, our favorite project. Last court, we talked about extending it for 10 days to give the one contractor that spent all those hours out there with the homeowner and us time to get their bid bond. They didn't get their bid bond, so they can't bid it. They have rectified all their bid bond issues, which is quite the process. They've been keeping me filled in a lot. So I'd like to bid it again. The homeowner would love for us to bid it again, but we need to put it on hold for a little bit. We got some bad news yesterday. She has a very young daughter that lives in Idaho, and she's been very ill, and she passed away yesterday. So Liz has asked us to hold off on doing anything until after that can all be handled. So I would like permission to bid it again. We now have a second contractor that was involved with the first contractor that said, well, if no one's going to bid it, I'll bid the whole thing and I'll sub out the pieces I don't do. And he does the most important part. He does the house lifting and holding part. So to me, that's one of the more critical pieces of this puzzle. So I'd like to have permission to bid it again. But as I told the homeowner and the engineering firm, I said, this is it. I mean, this is getting to be exhausting. You know, we're going to bid it. We've loosened up a couple things in the specs. Gave them 15 more days to finish the job. That was one of the fears of the bid company. And we've done a couple other things to make the bid companies happier. But I'd like to try one more time. I mean, I've got hundreds and hundreds of man hours invested in this project.
Or why don't you go back and explain exactly what you're talking about?
Okay.
For those that don't know.
And the location.
It's out on Perkins Ashcraft Road, out by the Valley View Ferry area.
Tates Creek Bridge. Is it the first house down? Okay.
Back, if you remember, May of 2010, we had the nice flood. Remember that one where we got the 13 inches of rain in about 36 hours? Had a presidential declared disaster in the community, affected a lot of the community, affected about 104 counties in Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, with flooding of some type due to those storms that came through. So we submitted a project to elevate this house and get it out of the floodplain. It's below floodplain level right now, but it was built before the numbers were available and all that kind of stuff. It's an older home. So we got approved to go ahead to do the project. So we got started with the engineering firm, and then the rules changed for hazard mitigation grants. That program changed all the rules. So we had to submit all new paperwork and go back through the process in Washington. And about 2.5 years after that, we got approved to do it. So now we've been working on this for about 4 years, and we're ready to do the physical turn dirt, move, raise the house and all that, and we're having problems getting people to bid it. It's too big a job for the little bitty guy because of the bonding and things, but that protects us and the homeowner. We got to do that. And it's too small for the big guy. You know, there's not enough profit margin in there for him. It's not going to buy him a new, Ferrari or Corvette. It's just not that big a job. So we're kind of in that never land. There's a lot of people that would like the job but don't have the technical expertise. They've never raised a house 8 feet. And you got to remember, we got to put a new foundation under it that meets the FEMA specs. So not only do you have to raise the house, 8 or 10 feet, but now you got to build a foundation and excavate with the house above you, which, is kind of a little bit of a challenge. You can't get in there with the big, huge equipment. You're going to have to do it with a lot of micro equipment. So.
On that house, how did it get to where, is it going to be federal funded?
Yeah, the funding stream is 75% federal, 12% state, and then 13% local. And the local share, the homeowners paying themselves.
A question, why was that house picked out of all the county?
Because it was the one that was the easiest to pass the cost-benefit analysis, because you got to pass that twice. They look at past damages, so she had good records. It was in the National Flood Insurance Program. That's another requirement. So she met all the wickets that we could get through the whole thing. We tried 2 from that 2010 flood. 1 didn't pass. It comes down to the cost-benefit analysis. And it was something that was possible to do. It was feasible.
I remember us talking about some up there on 595, and we said we wasn't going to get involved in that. But which, they was wanting us to buy the property. But, I know, if we can help people, we'll help people. But, just one certain one is,
Well, we looked at all those houses on 595. They didn't want to be elevated. They wanted, at the time, when I talked to them, they wanted to be bought out. And they all wanted about 300,000 a house. And there's 4 of them altogether. So they wanted about $1.2 million.
I know we wasn't for that, so,
I mean,
you know,
it'd have been a
it's-
beautiful park of 11 acres, but then who's going to take care of it out there? And it'd been a nice dog park or something, but. So anyway, we did look at that. I mean, Dwayne Curry and I have been involved in these from 2010 because, you know, floodplain manager and the flood insurance program and all that. And we've looked at them and we tried to offer up other options back there on 595 because that's what the area I live in. But
I ain't advocating for them, I'm just saying, you know, as you know, is that the only house down in Tate's Creek that we raising up?
yep, yeah. Someone else raised there's another house, 3 houses behind her. They did their own. And then they violated the FEMA rules, so now they can't live in it. So you got to follow the FEMA rules, and there's a book of them. So it's not something you do on your own.
I guess all this come about when FEMA put in the new regulations.
New maps, and then the new elevations. You know, as the science has gotten so much better that you can get down to tenths of a foot, versus in the old days where it was, you know, about this kind of elevation. Now we're down to, you know, this house is getting raised 7.9 feet. You know, that's the accuracy we're at.
Do we have benchmarks throughout the county now?
Yeah, I believe so. I think just about everywhere you do now. Like I said, we got a pretty good group working on our floodplain stuff.
How long we got to bid this thing out again?
Well, I built in extra time. Last time I had to submit a schedule because of all the issues with the engineering. So we've got plenty of time, so I can wait another month or whatever. I just was trying to get the work done before snow flew, is what I was trying to do, but that may not be the case now. We'll have to see.
But Carl, she understands this the last time we're doing
Yes.
it, right?
Yeah, we've had conversations, not only with her, the homeowner, but also the engineering firm, that this is it. You know, we're doing everything we can to make this happen, but this is the last time we're gonna go through this evolution.
Okay. Everybody, I don't even think we need a motion. Just, is everybody okay with him rebidding it once more? Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Carl.
Sounds to me he wouldn't have his feelings hurt if we told him not to.
No, he wouldn't. What, Carl, between 400 and 500 man hours probably?
Yeah, we're probably approaching close to 600 man hours now.
Carl, she has already made a payment also.
Right, yeah, she's already made a 50% payment of her share.
Okay, next on the agenda is appointment of Board of Adjustments, and I have 2. And the first one is George Dillon, and I'd like to appoint him to a term to expire June 20th, 2018.
So move.
Pastor King,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Pastor Hughes.
Yes.
Pastor Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. And Howard Bowden, and that would also go June 20th, 2018.
So move.
Second.
Pastor King,
Yes.
Pastor Barger.
Yes.
Pastor Hughes.
Yes.
Pastor Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Judge's report, just a couple of things, and I've got a request, and I wanted to ask, get your opinion on it. We've got a request. The Madison Central mock trial team is going to New York for the World Championship in October. The last few years has been second and third in the state trials. They'll be taking 10-plus students and up to 5 coaches and parents. They're trying to raise $15,000 for this trip, and Brianna Walters with Central has called and asked if the fiscal court would consider making some kind of donation or contribution to the trip for the Madison Central mock trial team.
Has anybody else contributed yet?
You know, I don't, Mark, are you familiar with where the fund, are they doing most of it private funding, raising the money, or you?
Not at all, sir. I've not been contacted by anyone who students. I know they're a very successful program, but otherwise I don't know how to fund it.
Yeah, it's a great program. I mean, it really is. Model and Central both have always got a great team. Let me call, but if there are other government, like if the city's contributing or something, are you okay with contributing $1,000 to them? Larry, Bill Ray?
No, I don't have any problem.
But I'll check and see and make sure.
Central,
Mhm.
Well, I think school board ought to pay some of it. They got all the money.
And I can find out where the funding is, but, you know, if Richmond, if another government entity's contributing or helping them, just want to make sure it's okay with you. Again, 16th, Pops in the Park at Whitehall. Gates open at 5 o'clock, and the judging, I think, starts at 6, and the music starts at 8, and they're expecting a huge crowd, and the weather's supposed to be excellent. So we'd like to see everybody out at Pops. I feel like it's going to be maybe a record crowd this time. And that's all I've got in the judge's report. Comments from department heads. Anybody? Kenny?
Today's the filing deadline for the Berea City Commission and the mayor's race down there. And also Thursday at 2 o'clock we have the ballot draw for the city races here in Richmond and in Berea. If anybody would like to come and it's open to the public.
Thanks, Kenny. Any other department heads? If not, comments from the magistrates, Greg?
I've just got a couple of complaints with a few places down off of Palm Branch. Clay driver, the lots, I think is owned by a couple of people, and the people are complaining in that area. It's growed. They mowed one of them, but they ain't mowed the other one.
Well,
check into that.
Well, we've talked to her, and we went down and ditched it so nobody could get in. It was over somebody was dumping brush in there, Greg, and we had the people push the brush back over against the creek of the trees and ditched it so they couldn't get in. And after we did that, they had a water leak, and the water company went in right above the ditch and pushed a big tree down. So we're waiting for them to kind of clean that up, and then we're going to go on and ditch it. But we've contacted the property owners, and like I said, I think they've done some. But now the part of that lot on up is bulldozer work, and I don't know if we can actually, Dwayne, can we actually on a lot make somebody do something like that?
I think, I mean, you know, as you know, it's ordinance maybe need to look at is if they're going to subdivide these subdivisions, that they take care of their interest ways, and plus their vacant lots. I mean, you know, that you drive in a nice subdivision, then it's all, you know, people's piled stuff in it, and then, you know, just aggravating to the beauty of the subdivision when you got an entrance that looks like, you know, I know they bought in there, but with expectations for them lots to be built. But anyway, that's another story. I mean, but, you know, to protect the people's rights in the subdivisions, we should have some kind of ordinance that makes the subdivider, the ones building them, to be responsible for those vacant lots. But
we do really, Greg. I mean, it's when you've got something like this, it's probably, what, Dwayne, 8 or 10 years growth. I mean, it hadn't been touched. I mean, it's big stuff in there. And then if you get a dozer or high lift in there and start, then you're going to have to pile it up somewhere. So you've probably got more of an unsightly mess with 1 or 2 or 3 big piles of grub trees and underbrush than you do with the, you know, the greenery going up the hill. But,
I just know ever since I've been elected in, it's been a continuing problem every year. And, you know, somebody dumping in it, or the weeds growed up, and, you know, the property owners won't take care of them. So, you know, it's I can understand a farmland, but when you're in a subdivision and you got these lots, they ought to be, as the owners should have to take care of them without us having to remind them every year. And, you know, it's just a continuing cycle that goes on around subdivisions, and this is one of them. So, I mean, that's just one of the problems I had.
Gregor, are there not deed restrictions that cover a situation like that?
Well, there may be.
That may be a good thing to
But-
look at too, because there may be some documents within development itself that might address the situation. So that'd be at least a good start.
I think there end up being lots that they can't develop on because of waterways, and
The restrictions might deal with that, so it may be a good idea to,
we'll check it.
yeah, to have those folks look that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else,
That's all.
Roger?
I just want to ask the people to be as patient as they can. Leroy has got a heck of a job to do to start with, and then you get a rain like we got, and it puts you behind that much farther. I know I got roads to wash the blacktop off of, and they get there as quick as they can and clean it up, but on top of that, then your grass starts growing in the ditch lines again, and they need mowed, but you need to be blacktopping. So just want to ask everybody to be a little more patient than usual, just because we don't know what's going to happen from day to day weather-wise.
We're gonna get to them. It just takes a while. Thanks, Roger. Bill Ray?
Yeah, I just want to express appreciation for everyone in the city and the county that's offered condolences and sympathy during the loss of my sister. It's been a terrible loss, not just for me, but for the community itself, because she was so giving and so charitable, and it's just a big loss. But I do appreciate all the compassion that we have received. And I speak for Alex as well and my whole family, and I want to thank everyone.
Thanks, Bill Ray. Larry?
I really don't have much, Judge. Of course, you know, we're getting ready, the county and the cities are getting ready to start school, so I just asked everybody to please slow down. You know, the first 2 weeks is gonna be a little hectic, but please slow down and watch for our children. Keep them safe. I know sometimes you have to leave out a little earlier, but so be it. Let's leave out a little earlier if we have to, but just slow down. And I know Mike and them, they'll have their hands full with different places in the county, so. And I want to commend the sheriff's department on the arrests they might, well, the drug raid they had here just a few days ago. I want to commend you and your staff. And I know there's plenty more out there, and you do too, but that's a start. That's all it is. I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you, Larry. We're glad you're here. Any comments from the audience? Anybody like to approach the court? Talk about it? Emerson, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. I have two things. First, I'd like to thank you for the support that you provided way back in 2005 to 2010 for the veteran celebrations that we had. Without the court support, I don't think those things could have ever happened. And I'd also like to thank you for all the support to the Madison County Veterans Committee. And my real purpose here is to come on behalf of the newest Vietnam veterans organization here, the Vietnam Veterans Chapter 1066. We've been in existence now for just barely over 2 years. We're up to about 50 members now and trying to grow every month. If we get one more each month, we're smiling. The thing that I'm wanting to talk about is, even though we're young, going to the state council last month, or the last meeting, they asked me if we would think about sponsoring the next state Vietnam Veterans Council meeting in 2016. And this would be June of 2016. I don't remember, I know your fiscal year is somewhere late in the year, what year that would fall in, 15 or 16. It'd be June of 2016.
Fall in our 15, 16.
Okay. What I'm looking for is some support so that we can sponsor this. This thing would occur starting around lunchtime on a Friday and end Saturday evening, 6 o'clock or so, about a day and a half. And we need things like transportation. Let me give you the totals first so you know what size of thing we're talking about here. The meeting I went to a couple months ago We probably had maybe 35, maybe 40 people at the most that come to this thing. It was held in Elizabethtown. They've held it for 2 or 3 years now. I think Madison County is a bigger draw, and I would hope to get 40 to 50 people to come to this thing. It's not an enormous thing. But on Friday, they had one of the green trolleys down there owned by the city there at Fort Knox. Again, I keep forgetting the name of that little town.
Elizabethtown.
No, the little one above it. Radcliffe.
Radcliffe.
Radcliffe has a green trolley. I know we have 2 or 3 here in the county, I think. I've seen them. I don't know who all they belong to. But we're looking for something like that for transportation from noon on Friday until after we eat on Friday evening, just a half a day there. That would be a cost, unless we can get somebody donating part of the cost of it. Then we have a couple meals, a banquet, which is not an elaborate thing, on Saturday, just before the awards that they give out for the different chapter representatives. I'm wanting to get everybody involved. The depot, they have a good cafeteria out there and a big enough meeting room where we could meet out there. Or we have the Reserve Center. We probably have something at Eastern. I want to get Eastern involved in some way. Some of the things that we have here are the Battle of Richmond Museum out there that we could take the people through. We could run them by the memorial over at Eastern, where they have all the flags and the names of all the people from Eastern that have passed away. We have Fort Boonesboro, but there are other things that we could. We only got a half a day to do this, maybe 5 hours. So there's things they can see. We need help with transportation, couple meals. I can't really think of any other big costs right at the moment. Those are our main costs that I can see. And I'm not looking for a fixed amount at this time, but I'm thinking up to $1,000. Not an enormous amount, but I just wanted to put this before everybody to be thinking about it. And we'll be back later down the line, but I would like to get your thoughts on it, whether you think this is feasible or not. Our meeting is October, the next quarterly meeting, and I'd like to give them an answer whether we think we can sponsor this or not.
Emerson, if you'd put that in letter form.
Sure.
We've always, since 2005, when we were the main
Yep.
sponsor for the Vietnam Wall coming out to Battlefield,
Right.
we've always kept the veterans in the budget, and just like the land we're waiting to get a deed to, you know, we paid for all the archaeological tests and the environmental tests and stuff for the veterans on that. So we've got a line item for that. If you could get us a letter and let me look at it, and then by then we'll see where we are with the property in front of the fairgrounds, because you know, we're going to have to help them do a little in-kind work as far as getting the road and stuff in out there. But there's, you know, we'll wait and see. But there could possibly be some money left over in this budget cycle for that, out of that line item.
Right.
So, you know, I think I speak for the court. If we can help, we'd be glad to do it. I mean,
Sure appreciate it.
We may be able to get Kentucky River Foothills to help us on the transportation.
I think that somebody said they do have one of the green trolleys.
they've got one. The university's got one. You know, it's we can probably work something out on that.
Yeah. I don't really think that we'll have more than, say, 20, 25 people, you know, to come early to go on that Friday. Some of them will just come for the Saturday, the whole day meeting. Another thing, they did it at Elizabethtown, and I'm sure we can do it here. We got more offices than they do. They had the city mayors, you guys. They had other representatives, had 2 state representatives there. We got Andy Barr, U.S. representative. I'm sure he'd be willing to come to this thing. And on Saturday, when we start the thing off, that's the first thing on the agenda, is to have all the local dignitaries come and speak for 2, 3, 5 minutes, whatever, you know, thanking the veterans for their service and whatever you want to say. But the bigger list we could get, the more it would look good on us. So.
We want them to spend money here. We want them to bring some money and leave it.
Okay, I am having an Air Force reunion here in about 5 weeks here, and I'm using the Best Western because we needed a room for our banquet. It's the only place here that has a motel that has a banquet room. I'm planning on talking to them and provide the money to the Best Western for those that come and spend the night, Friday night. They went out to Colton's. Some of you may be in that area. It's a steakhouse between Elizabethtown and Radcliffe. I'm thinking Logan's maybe, or may have some other ideas on a nice steakhouse to take them to, so we can spend some food money, motel money. They may want to, they'll give them a little bit of time where they can look around and maybe spend some other money in town. Like I say, it's not an enormous group, and I would like to go over 40 people here anyway. We cover the central Kentucky area. We have all the counties around Madison County that are eligible to join our chapter here, because there is nothing in Lexington at all. We have 3 or 4 members live in Lexington that come here to our meetings. Estill County, Rockcastle, yeah, we've just got them all around here, and we'd just like to build this thing and get it, let the people know at our next meeting that we think we can host this. And there's it's the main thing is it's centrally located. Elizabethtown is not centrally located to the people on the far east over at Ashland. Being here, there's a chapter in London, Elizabethtown, Louisville, up south of Cincinnati, over around Ashland. Manchester has one, Hazard has one. So where could you be more centrally located? I think we can draw more people into this area. Who knows, we could reach 50 or 60 people, I don't know.
Emerson, just put that in kind of a letter request form and get it to me, and we'll see what's happening, but I'm sure we can provide some assistance with this.
Okay.
I've never seen him involved in anything yet that didn't turn out okay.
No, I want to say I appreciate the time and effort that you put into these projects, and it's well worth it.
Now, if there was just something we could do with the Army and get them to move quicker than we know they're going to move on that land out there, I've already been told it's got to go up each chain of command. And
Well, it's supposed to be at the top right now.
oh yeah,
We were planning on having a groundbreaking this month. So we'll have to wait and see.
Give me a call when you're
George
ready.
is working. The colonel and George are really working hard on this. They're pushing it every day.
we appreciate all.
Thanks, Emerson.
Thank you.
Okay, nobody else? Motion to pay the claims and approve the transfer?
So move.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. I want to thank everybody for coming in. It's always good to see a crowd. And motion to adjourn.
When's our next meeting, Judge?
August 26th, it says.
August 26th. Okay. I'm gonna quit saying it.
I didn't mean to put you on the
Let
spot.
somebody else take the heat.
I think that's a pretty safe date right there.
Move adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.